Welcome to the Awareness Angle, simplifying cybersecurity awareness. This is the podcast that brings you the latest cybersecurity news from the past week and gives you the security awareness angle on it. This week, we've got WinRAR flaws, breakfast breaches, car hire companies are breached, cars are hacked, and a whole lot more. It's all here on the Awareness Angle. All views and opinions expressed in this podcast are our own and do not reflect those of our employers. And with me, as always, is my co-host, Mr. Luke Pettigrew. Hello, Luke.
Hey, Anthony.
I'm always like co-host fell out there. I'm always worried something different's going to fall out, but it was co-host this week. That's cool.
Yeah, see what you come up with next time.
Yeah, we've had a few over the weeks. So, how was Luke's week?
Yeah, no, it's been good. Yeah, I had a new starter in the team, so been fun.
An awareness team of 2, which is more than most, which is awesome.
That's true.
Yeah.
How was your week?
My week was good. It's been busy. Been in like meetings, and then Wednesday I went to the National Cybersecurity Show at the NEC. Which was good. Some great networking. Met some great people. But we'll come on to that a little later on.
Yeah, cool.
Cool. Right. Let's get on with the show. And as always, let's start off with the news. Right. Kicking off the news this week. WinRAR. I feel WinRAR, WinZip. It feels like one of those things that we've spoken about loads. I think this is the 3rd time in 21 episodes that we've covered a compression tool. WinRAR flaw bypasses Windows mark of the web security alerts, as says Bleeping Computer. So vulnerability in WinRAR could be exploited to bypass the mark of the web security warning and execute arbitrary code on a Windows machine. So anyone that doesn't know what WinRAR is, it's the tool that no one's ever paid for, and everyone just uses the free trial. If you get a RAR document, WinRAR used to be the only program that could open them. It's a compression tool, like a zip file decompression tool. So this impacts all WinRAR versions except the most recent release. So I guarantee you, if you're at an organization, there will be computers running or that have this version of WinRAR installed, sat there, because WinRAR is one of those that probably doesn't update until it's opened by the user, which could be once in a blue moon. Mark of the web. Have you heard of Mark of the web before?
Possibly. Sounds familiar, but not.
Yeah, it's one of those. So apparently, Mark of the web is a security function in Windows in the form of a metadata value to tag as potentially unsafe files downloaded from the internet. So when you open an executable with a mark of the web tag, Windows warns the user that it was downloaded from the internet and could be harmful, and offers the option to continue execution or terminate it. So I know that window. I've seen that. I didn't know it was called mark of the web. So it's that one that comes. It's basically like user account control. Do you want to allow this app to make changes to your device? Yes or no? So yeah, this is pretty nasty. There's not really loads to say on it, apart from the fact, like we said a couple of weeks ago about WinZip or 7-Zip. Why do users have this installed? Because a lot of the functionality that a user would need this for is now available natively using native tools.
Yeah, that's true.
If you do have this installed, now's a good time to uninstall it or update it. Definitely. So, yes, it's a medium severity CVE, score of 6.8. If symlink pointing at an executable was started from WinRAR shell, the executable mark of the web data was ignored. So it just doesn't give you the warning. So,
right.
Yes. And it says here, actually, recently Russian hackers leveraged such a vulnerability within 7-Zip, which did not propagate the mark of the web when double archiving to run a smoke loader malware dropper. So, yes. So if you've got WinRAR in your business, the awareness angle on that is get it gone or get it updated, or encourage users to use native tools where possible. All right, I'll move on to the next one. Data breach. WK Kellogg Co., US food giant WK Kellogg Co., has warned employees and vendors that company data was stolen during the 2024 Clio data theft attacks. So Clio was a managed file transfer utility that was targeted by the Clop ransomware gang at the end of last year. And this attack leveraged 2 zero-day flaws, the CVEs for them, allowing the threat actors to breach servers and steal data. So Kellogg learned on February the 27th this year that a security incident may have occurred involving Clio. Kellogg's immediately began to investigate. We contacted Clio, and Clio informed us that an unauthorized person gained access on December the 7th last year to the servers Clio hosted for us that were used for transferring employee files to our human resources service vendors. Kellogg's is WK Kellogg Co. is an American food manufacturing giant that split from Kellogg's in October 2023. It's huge though, $2.7 billion annual revenue, and owns All Bran, cornflakes, Fruit Loops, and Frosted Flakes. So the company doesn't mention Clop or the data theft attacks. The date of the reported incident, however, does coincide with the Clop ransomware gang. So I think we spoke about the Clop, the Clio attacks. I was just having a look because I'm sure we covered these previously.
Yeah, it sounds familiar, but maybe I don't know if it was on here or not.
Yeah, have a look. Early December 2024, security researchers identified ongoing exploitation of a critical vulnerability, allowing for remote code execution and data theft in Clio Harmony, Clio VL Trader, and Clio Lexicon. So I think it's probably that one. There's like I can see one here. I think the NHS, is this the one that the NHS was affected by? Maybe, because I can see something here about a warning on an NHS website. So Western Alliance Bank, they were impacted by it. They announced 3 weeks ago. So yeah, look, if your business has ever used Clio file transfer, get in touch with them because you might be impacted. And yeah, if you supply Kellogg's or have supplied Kellogg's or you've worked for Kellogg's, your data's possibly been breached. So
yeah, that's not what you want.
No,
especially from a supposedly secure file transfer platform. But
yeah,
I guess it shows right. It can happen to anybody just because they're the most secure or one of the most secure.
You've got as a secure. The problem with being a secure file hosting service or a secure messaging service is that if someone's going to put data in your platform, then it's probably really important and it's probably valuable. So, like, I'm not going to break into an empty warehouse when I can break in and steal the crown jewels, for example, because I can't sell an empty warehouse, but I can sell the crown jewels. So, yeah, staying on the theme of breaches. Next tonight, Europcar, which I always have called Europcar, but they are Europcar. I think Europcar might be a different business. Europcar, a hacker has breached their GitLab repositories and stolen source code for both its Android and iOS applications, as well as some personal information belonging to up to 200,000 customers. The threat actor tried to extort the company by threatening to publish 37 gigabytes of data that included backups and details about the company's cloud infrastructure and internal applications. The company's customer base is substantial, spread across 140 countries in Europe, North America, Asia, and Africa. So This was in late March. A threat actor using the company's name as an alias announced that they'd successfully breached their systems and obtained all their GitLab repositories. So yeah, they did publish screenshots of credentials present in the source code. That's never good. And they claim to have copied 9,000 SQL files with backups that have personal data, and at least 269 EMV files, which store configuration settings for applications and environmental variables. So yeah, Bleeping Computer that report this, they've received confirmation that the compromise is real, and the Europcar Mobility Group is currently assessing the extent of the damage. Significant, I think that would be. The threat actors claim they stole all the company's GitLab repositories is not entirely accurate, as they've learned that a small part of the source code remained untouched. Oh, that's okay then. So the customer data, the stolen data only includes names and email addresses of Goldcar and Ubico users. Yeah, dating between 2017 and 2020. So it's not that. It's names and email addresses, but I kind of consider that public knowledge. Like, it's not difficult to find that out. It's kind of like a phone number. It's not really.
Yeah.
If you're trying, it's hard to protect in this day and age. So they have confirmed bank details, card details, and passwords have not been exposed. So they've probably got away quite likely. It's unclear how they got access. But many breaches were fooled by credentials stolen. So they reckon it might be an infostealer again that came up week on week on week. So,
yeah, it's interesting. Like, just looking at the screenshot where it says about 37 gigabyte of data, and where we spoke recently about another breach where it was done in files instead, and this one is 645,041 files. Which sounds a lot more than what you think of 37 gig of data.
Yeah. It's the number. I hadn't even looked at that. So thank you for flagging that up. I see what you mean there. Let me get that up on the screen just to make it harder for you to edit in post-production. Yeah, we can see here, this is what they posted on the forum. And in total, we have more than 37 gigabyte of data, including, like you say, 645,041 files, and 183,476 folders. Not only is that more impactful from an awareness perspective, so that's like, wow, that's a lot of files. But if I was Europcar and I was like, no, like, and the board, the leaders are like, I don't believe them. How do we know they're telling the truth? Well, that's the amount of files and that's the amount of folders we have in that environment. Therefore you can like, oh, that's pretty accurate. It'd be close or accurate. And then you're like, they must know what they're talking about. If those figures were way off and you're like, no, there's only 100,000 files in there, then it'd be like, oh, they must be lying. So that's kind of a soft verification almost, isn't it? Like, we can verify this amount. So yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. So look, what can you do? They assume that it's from an info stealer, but just be prepared, right? This could happen to any one of us at any time. There's not much you can do to prevent it. So have these conversations with the people that matter, and have your playbooks and your, in case of emergency, break glass. Have that already.
Yeah.
I wonder, as an awareness professional, it depends on the organisation, but one thing that awareness are good at is communication. So I wonder how tied in many awareness people are with incident response, because internal comms would be all over it typically, I would imagine, but they're not necessarily best at communicating the technical in a sensible way. So that might be, if you're an awareness team, you want to add another string to your bow, get involved in the incident response process. Get there and be on call. I mean, you might get a nice little extra bit to be on the on-call rota, but make yourself available and be part of those scenarios when you're testing these, because your perspective as an awareness professional and a behavioural change expert probably is quite valuable. Right.
Yeah.
Moving on, the next one is yours, sir.
Yeah, so this one's probably quite interesting in terms of how it came around. This Nissan Leaf, the EV vehicle, has been hacked for remote spying and physical takeover, which is quite scary.
Yes.
But it's probably, it's not the first car to be hacked, especially when there's so much tech in these things now, especially the EV cars. But this was from some researchers have demonstrated some vulnerabilities affecting the Nissan Leaf. Allows remote hacking, which allows for the spying and takeover of various functions. It says here that it was conducted by PC Automotive. They're a company that offer penetration testing and threat intelligence for automotive and financial industries. And it was detailed at the Black Hat Asia 2025 event last week. And there's a nice PDF report which goes all into that. So if you want, you could bring it up on the screen if you want, perhaps quickly scan through it.
Yeah.
But it's sort of like the new age hacking, isn't it? Taking over vehicles, sort of Hollywood stuff.
I remember it being done a few years ago with the Mitsubishi FEV, and I think it happened at DEF CON because one of our ex-colleagues went there and they made the car move or were able to like turn it or something.
Yeah, this one here says about they can even control the steering wheel because obviously it's all fly-by-wire these days and electronics. So while the car was driving as well, so it's quite terrifying what could be done with that sort of thing.
That is scary. I drive an EV, and it does concern me how connected the vehicle is. A lot of it seems very unnecessary as well, but I gather the data is valuable to these companies, which is why they're connected.
If you scroll down on that page, there's a PDF where it says about Black Hat. Just go back, but it's near the top actually. Detail, where's the details? Yeah.
Oh, nice. 118 pages.
We could just flick through the first bit, but maybe someone might be interested in reading it. But it's very in depth. It's quite impressive.
Yeah, this is nice. It feels like I mean, it's very, very technical, isn't it? But it's quite well done because visually it's quite easy to consume.
It's nice to look at.
Yeah. Which is like, there's no tiny fonts on there. Everything's really clear and easy to understand. So well done on your presentation, team.
But yeah, it's quite scary. They can track that vehicle location. Record the in-car conversations.
We spoke previously about the Volkswagen group. They had a vulnerability a few weeks ago that enabled you to track the location of it, which is obviously fairly important. But they're able to listen to you while you're in the car as well.
Yeah, apparently they can.
That's
obviously a lot of cars have microphones, don't they, these days? So.
Yeah.
Something that's interesting on it was at the end of the article, it talks about how these sort of exploits in the automotive industry are quite valuable, like in terms of like a competition. So there's Pwn-to-Own automotive hacking competition, and there's a total of $886,000 where people have been challenged to attack these EV cars and chargers and infotainment systems. So if there's anyone out there that likes hacking, that's the one to go for, it seems like.
Yeah. It is frightening though, because now all of these cars are connected to the internet. It's just it's the safety skeptics in the world. Like, my mum would never buy one because she wouldn't want people knowing where she is. And I'd like, it's a different generation, isn't it? It's yeah, it is frightening. I was just looking here actually. You mentioned Pwn-to-Own. This article's from January last year, and the hackers gathered in Tokyo during the Automotive World Conference. Sounds like a similar event with more than $1 million in bounty payment on offer. What did they find? It mentions Tesla, but I've never heard of Tesla hacked
charger,
twice.
I think.
The Tesla modem. and the Tesla infotainment system. Yeah. So, yeah, Tesla aren't bulletproof either.
There's just in a more recent 2025 event. It talks about the winning group got $222,000 for whatever they hacked. So
Wow.
if you've got a nice crew of ethical hackers, I guess you can call them.
Yeah. You see,
White hat
interesting as well. There's an article here, and this is I don't know how much to trust this because it's not the most reliable news source. GB News. There's an article here, and I don't remember hearing about this, so I will have to verify this. But electric car charger to be removed over cybersecurity fears that hackers could target the national grid. So this brand of charger, it seems was. Here's an article from a Telegraph. So this is a bit more trusted. An electric vehicle car charger has been pulled from sale amid warnings that foreign hackers could use it as a weapon to cause electricity blackouts. And that's the charge wall box. So it's copper SB. But I think they're still for sale. So maybe they fixed the problem. Yeah, you can still buy them. So maybe they've sorted that problem out. Connected for the sake of being connected. I feel no benefit from my device being connected apart from the fact my phone will tell me when my car's charged. But it's more hassle than just. It's lovely. I don't have to go to a petrol station, but
probably won't be long before we hear a news story about some famous person or a CEO their car being hacked or something. So.
Hacked, stalked,
world leader or something.
Driven off, like Elon Musk's Tesla is hacked and driven off the road, you know. Yeah, I remember there being a story about a Tesla being like the doors locked, and the emergency. I'm going to get some hate on this if anyone listens to this and loves Teslas. The emergency door releases are underneath the seat, I think, in a Tesla. So it was like people were trapped in the car and couldn't unlock or something. But anyway, we digress. We're getting well off cyber security.
That was that story.
Yeah, no, that's interesting. If you have a Nissan Leaf, I wouldn't worry because they're probably going to patch it. And this was an older Leaf as well, 2020 Nissan Leaf. So
it does seem to be that one.
Yeah, it's interesting we say about the CVEs actually, and I don't know if I mentioned this a couple of weeks ago. I saw a post on Reddit saying that someone had submitted CVEs, but they hadn't shown up, and it was taking ages to show up. And apparently, Moate, that managed the CVEs, that whole function's been gutted by Doge. So they reckon that there's like less staff there than there was before. So actually now it might take longer. Like CVEs wasn't the most important part of their job. So it does. We might be venturing into a world without CVEs. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. But I've got. That was a few weeks ago. Right. That's all of the news. So, should we run through the rest of this week's top security stories?
Yeah, go for it.
Cool. Right. Kicking us off. The US TikTok ban is delayed again. We spoke about this last week and we said by the time we go to air, then it will have been announced. Well, guess what? It's been paused again. I think it's 75 days.
It's probably going to be indefinite at this point, but we won't go into it much further than that.
Let's not even get started on tariffs ups, downs. So lawmakers on both sides of the aisle, Republicans, Democrats, fear the app could be used by China, obviously, to spy on users, and they want a US company to take over the app, but ByteDance don't want to sell it. Meanwhile, in the UK, TikTok is banned on government devices, yet ministers have just launched an official UK Gov account. So you got to be there, but you're not allowed to go on there. Someone must have it to upload content. Critics have said it does send a mixed message, warning about data risks, while still using the platform to push public service content. It's kind of, yeah. Next up, GCHQ warns spyware is accessing phone microphones, cameras, and your messages. Communities across the world are being targeted by spyware apps combining data likely to be of value to China. Combing data, sorry. Communities across the world are being targeted by spyware apps combing data likely to be of value to China. UK cyber experts have warned malicious software dubbed Moonshine and Bad Bazaar, who thinks of these names, is accessing microphones, cameras, messages, photos, and location data without users being aware. GCHQ's NCSC, National Cybersecurity Centre, said the apps hide inside legitimate software in a technique known as Trojanizing and are being used specifically to target individuals internationally who are linked to issues considered by Beijing to pose a threat to its security, experts warn. So this is really targeted. What's worrying is that it can happen. And I do wonder if it's happening on iPhone as well as Android, like you would.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure on that. I think these are apps, like spyware apps in app stores, or they may be even ones that are a legitimate app that's been sideloaded and it's full of these sorts of malware. But yeah, I'm not sure if it's for both devices.
Examples of the software included in this include Tibet One and Audio Quran. So they support targets native languages and have been promoted in online forums frequented by the intended users. This is a proper targeted attack on people of interest, but the technology's there and it's available,
It's
right?
possible, yeah.
Like if it starts off targeted, then the chances of it spreading. Everyone, put your phone in a tinfoil bag and go and live in a field. Apple, how many times are we going to talk about this? Apple and the UK data privacy row should not be secret, the court rules. We said this would come back. A judge has ruled that the UK government's legal fight with Apple over iCloud encryption can't be kept a secret. The Home Office warns access to data protected by Apple's advanced data protection. But Apple says building a backdoor would put everyone's privacy at risk. The case will now be heard in public after pressure from privacy campaigners and news outlets like the BBC. This is a huge moment for transparency. And this is going to rumble on. Like we thought Apple had fallen over and had given up, but now it's they're going in. And lastly, Oracle. We said last week that there'd been a data breach and that they'd denied it. Well, I heard this week that, news reports this week say Oracle have confirmed that hackers broke in and stole client login credentials. So there's loads of criticism being faced towards Oracle right now after they've confirmed the breach involved, I read this, outdated servers. Despite denying that anything had happened, the company now insists its main Oracle cloud infrastructure was untouched, but no one believes them. It took Oracle 18 days to notify customers, even though the stolen data, 6 million records, had already been posted for sale online. So the breach was traced to unpatched middleware, raising serious concerns about Oracle's handling of legacy system and customer data security. Experts have slammed the company's vague, deflective response and alleged attempts to scrub evidence, prompting calls for customers to consider more trustworthy providers.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
you wouldn't want to be an Oracle customer, would you?
Trust. So, like, the word trust is something that I'm noticing more and more as we all share our data with everyone. It comes up in conversations at work and around, like, an awareness function must earn the trust of its people, to bring them along on that journey. And trust, man. Like, how can you trust Oracle with your data now?
No.
I mean, lots of people will do because it's a massive inconvenience to move and it's everywhere. And, this will be tomorrow's chip paper is probably what they're hoping, like look at CrowdStrike and look at other companies. But yeah, I'm pretty sure I read the article I'm looking at doesn't really go into detail, but I'm pretty sure I read as well that it was an old system that hadn't been decommissioned. So it was proper like legacy servers that hadn't been decommissioned properly. So it it shouldn't have happened.
Yeah, no. if some processes were in place and followed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the last bit, last week we spoke about a Royal Mail breach. And we said no doubt there'll be an update next week. Well, we don't have one. There hasn't been any more news on it.
Maybe they're denying it and hiding.
Maybe. I mean, they're keeping the can on it quite well. 144 gigabytes of data were claimed to be breached from their supplier Spectos last week. And that was breaking as we recorded it last Thursday. There's nothing. So we've not had an update on that. We'll keep you posted.
Cool, yeah.
That's the news. Cool. Right. A couple of things to mention. I went to the National Cybersecurity Show at Birmingham's NEC yesterday. And it was a 3-day event. It was on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I hadn't been before. It's an interesting story, actually. My brother works in health and safety, and we were at my mum's at the weekend. And he was like, "Oh, I'm going to a conference during the week." And I'm like, "Oh, yeah." And he's like, "Yeah, in Birmingham." And I'm like, "Me too." And it turns out that he had tickets for the health and safety one. I had tickets for the cybersecurity one. And when you were there, one hall was health and safety, one hall was fire safety, one hall was security, and then one hall was cybersecurity.
Yeah.
So they were all part of the same event. One ticket got you into all of them. The cybersecurity one was the smallest. And by small, it was fairly small. There wasn't a lot of companies there. There was a couple of small speaker stages. But yeah, it was nowhere near as big as InfoSec Europe or something like that. Definitely looked more regional than national. but had some great connections, met some familiar faces. And it was really, really good. Tim from Red Flags, so the Red Flags team were there, Think Cyber. And it was good to see them. Know Before were there. So Safe were there, but didn't see them. And had a couple of interesting conversations. I had a conversation with a company called NeuroCyber, who specialise in supporting neurodiversity in the cybersecurity space. And I'm going to have some more conversations with them. And we might get them on the podcast to have a talk about what they offer and talk about neurodiversity within cyber, because that could be quite interesting. And it's something that we're kind of close to. The other interesting thing, and this is a conversation, I will find out more about this and we'll talk about this later on, but and a really interesting take from a company called Zensory. If you think like apps like Calm and stuff like that,
right?
Well, this kind of takes a cyber angle on that, and I don't want to do it any disservice by not explaining it fully here. But Zensory say provide your team with scientifically backed tools to boost productivity and well-being anytime during the working day, and they offer cyber saying be more mindful, careful, and secure, because basically understanding that you're most vulnerable when you're stressed and when you're under pressure. So there's a whole platform here. I'm going to have a chat with them, and turns out their office is like in the road behind where my mum was born, so it was they're not a million miles away. Small world. So yes, had a really good talk with them. We're going to get them on and record something for the podcast over the next few weeks.
Sounds cool. So saw the interesting stat there of the study of 6,000 users of a 70% reduction in phishing email click rate. Sounds like a lot. Be interested to see how that.
I mean,
works.
that moves. That's a needle move, isn't it? That's a significant drop.
Huge number,
yeah. It's and it's funny. I had a conversation with someone earlier in the week that was it said something to the opposite of that, like phishing training, like remediation training straight after someone's fallen for a phishing attack. In some cases can have the opposite effect. Like it can give them some resentment towards it, so they're more likely to click sometimes. It's interesting. We'll get the Zensory on, and we'll have them come and talk, because I don't want to do them any disservice by diving into it without properly having experienced it. But I tell you what was great about it as well. It's something fresh, at least for me. It was something fresh. And a few weeks ago, we saw the Vida Reels, and then we had a look at the Zensory at the show yesterday. It's great seeing some movement and some new thinking in the awareness space. That gets me excited. It's nice seeing something a bit different.
There's a lot of the same, isn't there, really?
Yeah.
Well, there has been for a while. So, yeah.
Just to give an update as well, I actually had a full-blown demo of the Vida Reels today.
Oh, really?
And it's quite exciting. They heard you said about the call to action, and can you put your own stuff in, put your own content in it, and you could put your own adverts and call to actions in it. So yeah, I'm going to continue those conversations, and we'll see. But it's quite exciting, I think.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. The last bit of awareness for today is in just a couple of weeks. Well, actually, when you're listening to this, it'll be next week. So April the 29th. If you're anywhere near Leeds, get yourself to the Granary. It's an amazing venue, because on April the 29th, I'm taking part in a panelist discussion talking about the cyber threats that keep CISOs awake. So it's going to be a really, really interesting session. A great networking opportunity as well, Q&A. So come along. It's at 5:30 in the evening. It's in Leeds, and the Granary is just apparently like walking distance from the train station, because that's what I'm doing. So come along. It's free, and there's even some free food and drinks. So then why wouldn't you come? It's quite as simple as that. We're going to be talking AI. We're going to be talking ransomware, supply chain attacks, and the human factor is obviously, my passion piece. So come along. Details of that will be in the newsletter. You can get me or search for Pentest People, April 29th, the Granary, and get yourself there.
Awesome.
Cool. Right. So I had a few different topics, and normally this would be like just one or two. I've got a few little bits this week that I just wanted to show you. And the first one isn't really cybersecurity related, but it could be, because if you run an awareness team or an awareness function, it's tough to be creative all the time, right? And anyone that uses ChatGPT would have known that the new ChatGPT engine is obviously producing great at producing images now, and we've seen this with Sora as well, which can produce moving images and static images. Well, I saw this come up on a Reddit thread, and if you're an old school gamer, and if you had an N64 in the 90s, then this will be a thread that really gets you kind of excited. So as you can see here, what a great advert that would have been. Pierce Brosnan handing you an N64 controller to play GoldenEye, which is obviously created by ChatGPT. And then when you scroll down, someone's put creases in it as if it came with Nintendo 64 magazine. And then if we go down a little bit longer, you can see someone's turned it into a GoldenEye poster. And then if we go down a little bit more, someone's put it on the front of Nintendo Power magazine. And then if we go down a little bit more, someone's created Sub-Zero playing Mortal Kombat 3.
Yeah.
Master Chief playing Halo. Yeah. There's yeah. And Gordon Freeman playing Half-Life. Neo playing The Matrix. So there's lots of stuff here. And then I love this. Someone's put big head mode. So if you ever played GoldenEye, one of the cheats was that you could make all the characters have massive heads.
Yeah.
Someone's put bigger head mode. And then the heads just get bigger and then end up through the ceiling. Yeah. So look,
that's great.
We'll put a little gallery of those and a link to those in the newsletter. If you haven't got our newsletter, what are you doing? Our newsletter's got over 500 subscribers now. It comes out every week and it tells you everything we discuss in the podcast. And it gives you more awareness angles than we give here. So if you want to know the awareness angle and all the stories we talk about, get yourself subscribed to the newsletter. You can get it at riskycreative.com, or you can search for the awareness angle on LinkedIn and join the other 500 plus subscribers that get our newsletter every single week on a Monday in your inbox. Right. Next, LinkedIn. So Lance Spitzner, who we've talked about before. If you're a security awareness professional, you must know who Lance is. Lance is the director at the SANS, it's not French, director at the SANS Institute. And Lance, just the other day, posted this on LinkedIn that I thought was really, really good. Folks, we spend a lot of time on what are the best security behaviors we should be teaching our workforce. Perhaps a good question to ask is also what behaviors we should no longer be teaching. What behaviors may sound good at first, but actually do more harm than good. So Lance's top 3 is changing passwords. I still hear this. It's still a thing. 20 years ago, this may have been good, but nowadays asking people to regularly change their passwords does far more harm than good. It adds tremendous friction, loss of employee time, and drives more bad behaviors. Password 1, password 2, password 3. Instead, focus on strong passwords, passphrases, and MFA. HTTPS. I remember doing campaigns about look for the green padlock. I used to teach people to look for HTTPS in their browser connections, but this does more harm than good. People confuse that with the website is trusted. Sorry, I would teach HTTPS means your connection is encrypted, but people confuse that with this website is trusted. Cyber criminals have jumped on that, and now over half of phishing websites use HTTPS.
Yeah.
The other one he uses is hover over the link. This is commonly taught to determine if an email or message is a scam. Lance doesn't teach this, as in most cases it's too complex and technical for most people, time-consuming, and far too many false positives or negatives. Instead, Lance teaches people to look at the context of the message. Kerry Tomlinson, at the bottom there, her comment, this came to mind before even reading her comment. Great minds think alike, Kerry. Kerry says she still sees recommendations that people check for spelling and grammar in emails to detect phishing. AI has made it so easy for attackers to write grammatically correct sentences with perfect spelling. I actually think spelling errors weren't a thing before AI. I think it's been a long time since that was a dead giveaway.
Yeah, I mean, you always have the really obvious ones, but then, if someone wants to put the time in, they're going to put the effort in to make sure it's not something you can spot.
Yeah. John Scott's got an interesting comment there. Juice jacking, which is obviously, you're charging your phone and your phone will get compromised. Yeah. And the fear of public Wi-Fi. I think both of those are there was a time when they were relevant. We used to tell people, make sure you use a VPN when connected to public Wi-Fi, but I think devices have upped their game and I don't think the threat's as strong as it once was anymore. It's an interesting thing to think about if there's something that we used to teach. I mean, we've both done this quite a while now. Can you think of anything that we've done campaigns on previously that aren't relevant anymore?
That's a tough one. I need a bit more time to think about it. But
sorry, putting you on the spot there. I definitely remember there was a time us saying, look, I definitely remember using advice like check for spelling errors and grammatical errors.
That's probably one of them.
Yeah.
But, I was thinking on the hovering over links, in some cases maybe it's too technical, but if the context is saying we're from Google or we're from Spotify and the link doesn't go to Google or Spotify, that's obviously a straight giveaway. That's not too hard to tell. Obviously depends on the context of the message. Sometimes maybe they'll be sending you to do a feedback form on some different platform, but that's probably something to look out for. And I mean, Wi-Fi wise as well, maybe the thing to look for is to be making sure that you're actually connecting to a legit public Wi-Fi, and not someone's hotspot that they're waiting for you to join.
Yeah. I got the train the other day. Last week, I got Monday, I got the train into London. And I sat on the tube. I sat on the train from Liverpool Street, and I went to go on the Greater Anglia. They have Wi-Fi on their trains, and I was like, I'm on my iPhone. Yeah, I'll connect. And there was 4 or 5 different official-looking Wi-Fis, and I really had to think. Like, there was a TfL one and a Greater Anglia one. And I knew the Greater Anglia one was right because that was the only one available on my train out. Yeah. And as I was going in and I was in London coming back, there was all of a sudden a swarm of Wi-Fi's available. And it was like, it would have been really easy for the obvious one to hide, for the bad one to hide amongst the good ones. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's an interesting thought. Someone sat on the train with a fake Wi-Fi. Or sat on it all day.
It must happen. I'm sure that scenario has been used in a TV program or film somewhere.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Right. I have a couple more. Hayden from Know Before, friend of the show. Hello, Hayden. Hayden shared a video with me, and I'm just gonna share it now. So this is unbelievable, right? A US man uses an AI avatar in court, but the judges
saw this one.
Judges reject it. Did you see it?
Yeah.
Let me show you. Hang on.
I come here today, a humble pro se before a panel of 5 distinguished justices.
Is this? Hold on. Is that counsel for the case?
I generated that.
I'm sorry?
I generated that. That is not a real person.
Okay. It would have been nice to know that when you made your application. You did not tell me that, sir. I received the application. And you have appeared before this court and been able to testify verbally in the past. You have gone to my clerk's office and held verbal conversations with our staff for over 30 minutes. People versus Efrain Vasquez. Submitted. Thompson versus Nelson is submitted. First case argued on the calendar is HSBC Bank versus Min.
So did this guy create?
Oh, I'm sorry. We'll call you next.
Did this video is not the best, is it? Did this guy create an AI avatar for his legal counsel?
Yeah.
So he didn't have his own solicitor legal representation. It was an AI avatar pre-recorded that he brought to represent him.
Yeah, that seems to be the case.
I'm not surprised. Wow, that's insane.
It's quite impressive he tried it.
Because when that started, a little pause button appeared in the top right-hand corner. So the judge interrupts the speech. Let me just take that back to the beginning.
Yeah, I mean, they spot it straight away, right?
Absolutely straight away. Let me just share this again. So if you're listening, there's a court. There's 4 judges on this court. And then down in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen, you can see the defendant. And in the right-hand corner is a screen share of the man's laptop running Windows 11 with what looks like VLC player playing a video.
May it please the court. I come here.
And that voice you hear is the VLC played pre-recorded video.
Here today, a humble pro se before a panel of 5 distinguished justices.
Is this? Hold on.
And it's now been paused. The video's been paused. It's got pause logo in the top right-hand corner.
Is that counsel for the case?
It's amazing, the front of some people to even try and do that. It's incredible.
Yeah. You hear about people using AI to get out of like parking fines and stuff like that, but
using ChatGPT to write an argument for a parking ticket is a bit different to pre-recording an avatar and then just pressing play on a video to defend your legal argument.
That's amazing.
I mean, it's dear ChatGPT, because you've got to be like my 11-year-old says, be polite to your AI, Dad, because then you'll end up in the human zoo rather than dead. That's what he says. Be polite. Always say please and thank you, so you end up in the human zoo. So, dear ChatGPT, please write me the words that a legal representative would say in this court case. Upload that into an AI avatar generation tool, and there's your legal representation.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Anyway, I move on. I'm aware of the time, and I had a couple more I wanted to go through. I saw this one on LinkedIn, and this is a post from Simon Taylor, who's head of strategy and content at Sardine. And this leaked AI memo from the Shopify CEO is eye-opening. I expect others to follow. It seems aggressive, but it's super sensible. So, and he poses the question, how many companies have refrained to think higher AI before human? How many companies have AI use as an exception rather than quiet productivity hack? How many companies measure prompting as a core skill? And how many companies are AI prototype first? Aligning towards that seems very sensible, says Simon. So the Shopify memo says, number one, using AI effectively is now a fundamental expectation of everyone at Shopify. Just to make it clear, this is a leaked memo. I don't know if this is real or not. I'm making assumptions that it is, but don't come after us, Shopify. I don't have any money. So using AI effectively is now a fundamental expectation of everyone at Shopify. It's a tool of all trades today and will only grow in importance. Frankly, I don't think it's feasible to opt out of learning the schools of applying AI in your craft. So I'll go on. My concern here, right? The next one, AI must be part of your GSD prototype phase. Number 3, we will add AI usage questions to our performance and peer review questionnaire. Number 4, learning is self-directed, but share what you learnt. Before asking for more headcount and resources, teams must demonstrate why they cannot get what they want done using AI. The reason I bring this here today before us is because I don't see the word secure there anywhere. I don't see any mention of secure stuff. What it does say is you all have access to much of the cutting-edge AI tools as possible. Developers have Proxy, Copilot, Cursor, Claude Code, all preloaded, pre-tooled and ready to go. We'll learn and adapt together as a team. We'll be sharing wins and losses, W's and L's, with each other as we experiment with our new AI capabilities. There's no mention of security, data loss. Like, why are people not thinking about the amount of stuff people will chuck in random tools? Or the implicit trust that the stuff these tools chuck back at you. I don't get it. I don't understand why everyone just gives their crown jewels to AI and thinks that's okay.
Yeah, no, it's interesting if that's real.
I feel like there should have been a. I just realised I've liked that and I didn't mean to. I feel like there should have been a. There should be the word secure, and this is the importance of the power of words, right? Number 6, use AI responsibly, use AI securely. Never trust, always verify, that kind of thing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It wouldn't have taken a lot. I don't work at Shopify, but maybe it says a lot about the culture there. I don't know. My last bit of fun I wanted to show you, if you have children and you're in the UK, the name Maddy Moate will probably mean something to you. So she's presented programs on the children's channel CBeebies and CBBC, I think, for years. And she does lots of stuff about science and anything that isn't play but is brains tends to be hosted by Maddy Moate. And she's got on Instagram, I saw this video and it's really, really helpful. I'm going to play it now quickly. If you've got kids, you might want to follow Maddy Moate. Just listen to this. Hang on, it's not playing. That's good, isn't it? Let's try that again. I need to turn the
In
volume
my
up.
last reel, I showed you how to set up the YouTube Kids app to ensure your child only sees videos and channels pre-approved by you. But what if you don't know what to approve? With so much out there, finding genuinely brilliant kids content is hard. But thankfully, I've had 10 years of making fun educational videos for families on my channel, exploring science and nature. And along the way, I've discovered lots of other awesome kids creators. So here are 5 that I recommend. Just hold your finger on the screen if you want to read my recommendation criteria first.
So what's great is she's done, obviously, a video showing how to lock down YouTube Kids. And I think my experience of being a parent in the playground and stuff is that a lot of parents don't know that there are parental controls on all of these apps. Like, it's quite straightforward to apply parental controls on WhatsApp. TikTok's even got it. YouTube's got it. YouTube Kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've all got parental control. Obviously, don't go and sign your kids up for Facebook or stuff. Check the age restrictions. But it's funny I say that. I'm reading a book that Facebook have tried to ban. And in it says that years ago, Facebook nearly launched a kids book, a Facebook Kids, but basically they couldn't get away with it. So yeah, they tried to launch an app based at kids, basically to prime the next generation of Facebook users.
Right. Yeah.
But they didn't get away with it. Careless People, it's called, which is written by a former employee, Sarah Wynne Williams, and it's she's not allowed to promote it anymore. And yeah, so the book has become a bestseller, and it's quite. I'm only halfway through, but it's quite an interesting read if you're into how tech companies and the super rich work. It's yeah.
Sounds interesting.
Anyway, that's me done. Luke, you had one, did you?
Yeah, just one topic for today, and we can bring up on the screen. I can drop that. I don't know if you can bring it in, but I can drop it in if not. But I wanted to ask you. We'll wait for it to come up on the screen, but yeah, just wanted to ask you: is this message real?
You're asking me if this is real?
Yeah, I've redacted stuff. For reference, it was the hospital name, the patient name, and a 4-digit PIN code.
There's a million reasons why it shouldn't be real. So the message says this is the message. So it's a screenshot of a SMS message. The sender is NHS something, and it says this is an important letter from blank NHS Trust for name. Please log in on your smartphone, tablet, or PC using the following link with PIN blank and your date of birth. Thank you. http://nhsportal.net/FJ blank. Right. Red flags, HTTP, not HTTPS, which I didn't realize until I was reading that out. So I should have noticed that. I didn't notice that till I was literally spelling it out. It's from NHS. It's not from a number. So there's some trust built. It mentions the right, if it's a local hospital, there's some trust there, and a name, there's some trust. I reckon it's real.
It was real. But
it shouldn't be real.
It's a terrible example of...
It's terrible. I reckon it's real because I expect very little from the NHS.
Yeah.
Which is, if you're not from the UK, the NHS is the UK's National Health Service. You know, here in the UK, we get free healthcare, unlike the richest country in the world. Yeah, it's awful. Like it's
a great example of what not to do.
Yeah, the URL is really bad. HTTP
NHSportal.net.
NHSportal.net. What is that? You know, I'm sure the NHS have. Don't they have like hospital domains?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure
NHS.uk is their NHS.uk is their domain. Every hospital has, like I can see here, Eastern North Herts Hertfordshire Trust is enhearts.tr-tr.nhs.uk. NHS.uk is the National Health Services domain. Why is that not going to an NHS.uk? It's dreadful. It's awful. Yeah.
No,
so easy to spoof as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But so it's a text my partner received earlier today, but she ended up searching on Reddit, on Google, and then found a Reddit post about it, and it's people confirming it is real. But yeah, it's a absolutely awful looking text message.
You know what's worse? If you go to nhsportal.net, there's not even a website there. Doesn't redirect anywhere. It comes up with that domain must only be used for communication.
Yeah.
Oh God, this is dreadful. It's really bad. And it really makes our jobs as security awareness professionals all the much harder, because people have got to trust something like that. But then how can you teach good behaviors if they have to deal with something like that?
No, it's interesting. They could have. I've never heard of NHSportal.net before, or like this. I've never seen this before. So it's like maybe they could have done a campaign to say that this is a thing. Maybe they could have put a bit more effort into it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Why is it not going to an NHS UK domain? Like, why don't they just use that? Because if you go to nhs.uk, it takes you to the NHS website. You know, it would be a lovely place to go if, is it real or not? And then it takes you there. Why do they not have nhs.uk/portal? Why does it have to be nhsportal.net? .net. It's .net, isn't it? It's .net. Yes, awful. Okay. I was successful, but only because I expected the worst. So, yes, NHS, we should start giving. I read something about this. I think it was on a post on LinkedIn. It was about the treadmill LinkedIn that we did a couple of weeks ago. And Anastasia posted a couple of days later saying, should she name and shame the supplier or not of the, if you didn't listen, we had a treadmill on an episode a couple of weeks ago. And basically to use this treadmill, it demanded access to your contacts and phone records on your phone. There wasn't a choice. You had to give it access. Anastasia was able to find a workaround, but it wasn't easy. And it's, I've forgotten where I was going with that. So we'll just move along because I've forgotten. So I'm sorry. Yes. I remember. Yes. So she put a thing saying, should she name and shame the supplier? And someone said, no, don't like give them, we should grade them. So we should do like security gradings. And I thought, that's not a terrible idea. Maybe we should start like grading. When we come across bad stuff like this, we should give them a ranking. Like, we're giving you an F.
Yeah.
So, and there's a couple of reasons why I would knock stuff off that. So, I'm going to knock, like, it's HTTP. It's not HTTPS. It's not a trusted domain. They should have used NHS UK. The rest of it, if it was your local hospital, then it's probably okay. So I'm going to give them a D, like it's a fail.
Yeah.
No, I think I'm going to give them an E. That's dreadful. And like an F is the bottom of the range. Like F is the lowest mark you can get. I'm giving them an E. There's no reason, no excuse for them not to use HTTPS or another domain. I give them an E. Yeah,
that's fair.
Yeah, maybe if we get enough of these, we'll start publishing these rankings.
Yeah.
Right. I think that's it are you done?
Yeah, that was it. Yeah.
Yeah, we're done. Okay. Thank you very much for joining us for episode 21. Thank you for listening. If you've got an interesting story you would like us to look into, discuss, or tell, give us a shout by reaching out at hello@whiskeycreative.com. Connect with Luke on LinkedIn. He needs more followers. Connect with me on LinkedIn. I always need more followers. And get the newsletter. Sign up at riskycreative.com or search for the awareness angle on LinkedIn. Until next time, I think we're done.
Yeah, cool.
Right, have a good
you.
week, and I'll speak to you next time.
And you. Catch you next week.
Goodbye.
See ya.